Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do paper 3 for foundation. This is GCSE Edexcel Maths and this is for November 2024. I have already uploaded the videos for paper 1 and paper 2, which you can check out at the link above. If you want to see the foundation papers for May, June 2025, you can also access them on the playlist that I mentioned previously. So let's start with this one and see how difficult or easy paper 3 was compared to paper 1 and paper 2. It says write on the value of the 7 in the number 3721. So 7 is in the hundredths place, so it's 700. Work out 1/6 of 96. Off means times. So we do 1/6 times 96, which is equal to 16. Write on two factors of 16. You can pick any two factors. You can write 4, you can write 8, you can write 2, 1, or 16. Any one of these two factors will be correct. Write the following numbers in the order, starting with the lowest number. Lowest over here is -7. Then we have -3. Then we have 0, 4, and 6. In negative integers, bigger the number, the lower its value is. Whereas in positive integers, the bigger the number, the higher the value is. That's why -7 is the smallest, whereas 6 is the largest. Then find the value of root of 2.25. For this, you just plug this in the calculator and what you get is 1.5. Solve x plus x plus x plus x equals to 20. So we're adding 4 x's, so 4x equals to 20. X equals to 20 over 4, which is 5. Remember, when you're adding the same variable to itself, the power will not change. What changes is the coefficient. So since it's x being added 4 times, it becomes 4x, not x to the power of 4. You need to be aware of this distinction. Then solve y plus 7 equals 24. So y is going to be 24 minus 7, which is 17. Then solve w over 2 equals to 4. W is 4 times 2, which is 8. This is an example of one-step equation where we're trying to find the value of the variable. So when you take a term from one side to the other side, you do the opposite. Plus 7 becomes minus 7, divided by 2 becomes times 2. So we're doing the opposite thing on the other side. Then here's a quadrilateral. Write on the special name of this quadrilateral. This quadrilateral is called a trapezium. Why? Because in a trapezium, we have one pair of parallel sides. And this is your pair of parallel sides. On the grid below, draw a right angle triangle. So you can draw any right angle triangle. As long as it has a 90 degree, it is going to be a right angle triangle. This is your right angle triangle. Order some items from a DIY shop. Here is your bill. Complete all the missing information in the bill. So this is like a two-way table. So packs of screws, she got 4 packs. Each pack was for 9.99. Total was 119.96. Then she got tins of paint. She got 2 tins. The cost of each tin is 24.95. So for the total, we do 2 times 24.95. That's going to be 49.9. Then we have the cost of each wooden plank. We have the total amount he paid. So we need to find the quantity of the wooden planks. So we divide 232.5 by 7.75. That's going to be 30. So now for the total cost, we add up all of these. So 119.96 plus 49.9 plus 232.5 and plus the delivery charges, which is 14.95. That's 417.31 pounds. That is your total cost. At the beginning of January, Jeff had 892.48 pounds in his bank account. During January, Jeff had 4.47 pounds interest added to his account. He paid 240 pounds into his account. He spent 365.50 pounds from his account. How much money did Jeff have in his account at the end of January? So he's starting with 892.48. An interest of 4.47 is added. Then he paid 240 into his accounts. Again, we're adding 240. And then he spent 365.50 from his account. So we're subtracting this quantity. So let's find the total of this. That's 771.45 pounds. That is your answer. Then there are 200 people at a party. 2/5 of the people are children. The rest of the people are adults. 35% of the children are vegetarian and 45% of the adults are vegetarian. How many of the people are not vegetarian? So first, let's find the number of children. That's 2/5 of 200. That is equal to 80. Adults are going to be 200 minus 80. That's going to be 120. 35% of the children are vegetarian. So children and non-veg, that's going to be 65%. So 65% of 80 is going to give us the children who are non-vegetarian. That's 52. Then for adults, 45 are vegetarian, so 55 are going to be non-veg. So 55% of 120. 66 are non-veg, so total non-veg are going to be 52 plus 66, and that's going to be 118. So 118 people are non-vegetarian in total. Here's a part of a train timetable between Harwich and Manchester. How long should this 746 train from Harwich take to get to Salford? 746 is this. And Salford is over here. We're starting from 746 and our reaching time is 8:05. So that's going to be 19 minutes in total. Because from 746 to 8, it's 14 minutes, and then 5 more minutes, that's 19 minutes. Barney has a job interview in Manchester. Barney takes 6 minutes to walk from his home to the station in Lowestoft. He will take 8 minutes to walk from the station in Manchester to his interview. Barney needs to be at the interview no later than 9. What is the latest time Barney can leave his house and be on time for the interview? So he takes 6 minutes to walk from his home to the station. And it takes him 8 minutes to walk from the station in Manchester to the interview. He has to be at the interview till 9. He can't be later than 9. These are the 3 trains that reach before 9. And at Lowestoft, the train is leaving at this time, for these 3 times. If we take the 8:17 one, 8:17 to 8:45, and then walking time, which is 8 minutes. So he will be able to reach the interview before 9. So before that, he needs 6 minutes to walk from his home to the station. So subtract 6 from that, he needs to leave the house at 8:11. So we do 8:17 minus 6. That's 8:11. That's how we get the answer. You have to pick that train which is closer to 9. Obviously, if you pick the 7 train, that's going to be very early. He's going to reach Manchester station 2 hours before his interview. That's too early. So the best train is the 8:17 one. And for that, he needs to leave his house by 8:11. The time of Barney's interviews changed. Now he has to be at his interview no later than 9:15. What effect does the change of time have on the latest time Barney can leave his house? So if you notice, he has no other option because he only has the 7:16 train or the 8:17 train. The 9:17 train is after the time he has to reach for the interview. His reaching time is now 9:15. So this train is leaving at 9:17, so he can't leave so late. So his Departure time is still going to be the same. It's not going to change it. No effect because the next train from Lostock leaves at 9:17, which is going to be late. That's your answer. You can use this graph to change between miles and kilometers. Change 10 miles into kilometers. That's going to be 16 kilometers. Rob drives 17 miles for Bridlington to Scarborough. He then drives 50 kilometers from Scarborough to States. What is the total distance Rob drives? Give your answer in miles. So we have to convert the 50 kilometers into miles. So what we can do is we can check what is 25 kilometers equal to. 25 kilometers is 15.5 miles. So we need to find how much kilometers are in 50 miles. So we can just multiply 15.5 by 2, and then we can add 17 for the total distance, because he's taking 17 miles from Bridlington to Scarborough. So total distance is going to be 15.5 times 2 plus 17. The reason why we're finding the miles for 25 kilometers because the graph doesn't show us for 50 kilometers. So the best estimate we can take is that we can find the miles for 25 kilometers, times it by 2, and then add the remaining distance to get the total distance. That's going to be 48 miles. A shop sells apples and oranges. There are 6 apples in each bag of apples. There's 7 oranges in each bag of oranges. The shop sells X bags of apples and Y bags of oranges. Write an expression in terms of X and Y for the total number of apples and oranges the shop sells. 6x plus 7y. Because there's 6 apples in each bag, so X bags will have 6x. 7 oranges in one bag, so Y bags will have 7 times Y. So 6x plus 7y is the total number of apples and oranges the shop is selling. The diagram shows a crate and a box. The crate is 3 meters by 1 meters by 1.5 meters, and the box is 20 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 75 centimeters. The crate is completely filled with the boxes. Work out the number of boxes in the crate. So for this, what we can do is we can find the volume of both the shapes. So volume of crate. That's going to be 3 times 1 times 1.5. That equals 4.5 meter cube. Volume of box. Now these are given in centimeters, so let's convert this into meters first. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 20 centimeters is 0.2 meters. This is 0.1 meters, and this is 0.75 meters. So let's multiply these. 0.2 times 0.1 times 0.75. That equals 0.015 meter cube. So for the number of boxes, we divide 4.5 by 0.015, and that equals 300 boxes. That is your final answer. If you want to use another method to solve this question, that's also fine. But I think this is the most suitable one. because like you just have to find the volume of both the shapes and then divide them by each other to get the number of boxes. But make sure that the units are same, because if you use centimeters for the box and meters for the crate, you would get an incorrect answer. Then Harry works in the shop. From Monday to Friday, his basic rate of pay is £8 per hour. On Saturday and Sunday, Harry's rate of pay is 1.5 times his basic rate of pay. The table shows the number of hours Harry worked each day last week. Work out Harry's total pay last week. So from Monday to Friday, he's earning £8 per hour. On Saturday, Sunday, his rate is 1.5 times his basic rate. So the table is showing hours Harry has worked each day last week. So we have to calculate his total pay. So from Monday to Friday, it's going to be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be times 8. That's £240. Then from Saturday to Sunday, 4 plus 3 times 1.5 times 8. That's going to be £84. So total is going to be 240 plus 84, and that equals £324. That is his total pay for last week. The table gives information about the ages of the 41 children in Blackrod Football Club. Work out the mean age, giving the answer correct to one decimal place. So for mean, you multiply the age with the frequency and add it up for each of these rows. So it's going to be 8 times 6 plus 9 times 7 plus 10 times 15 plus 11 times 11 and then plus 12 times 2. And this is divided by the total number of children, which is 41. That is going to give us 9.9. That is the mean age of the children in the football club. Then Rohan is working out the model age of the children in Blackrod Football Club. He says the highest frequency is 15, so the model age is 15. Is Rohan's answer correct? Give a reason for your answer. Highest frequency is for the age 10. So the value of the frequency is not the model age, it's like what the corresponding age is. So instead of saying 15, Rohan should have said that the model age is 10. Because it's not the frequency value that's the mode, it's like what it's corresponding to. So he is incorrect because the model age is 10, not its frequency value. Then write 126 as a product of its prime factors. So we just draw the prime factor tree and break it down into its prime factors. So 126 can be divided by 2, which is 63. 63 can be divided by 7, which gives us 9, and 9 can be divided into 3 and 3. So 2, 7, and 3 are prime numbers, so we cannot further break them down. So 126 is the same as 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. If you want to write it as 2 times 3 squared times 7, that is also correct. Then we have to find the highest common factor of 126 and 210. So 126 was this. Now we draw the factor tree for 210. We can say 7 and 30, 3 and 10, and 2 and 5. These are all prime numbers. We have to pick the highest common factor. So we can see that 7 is common, 3 is common, and 2 is also common, which means your HCF is 7 times 3 times 2, which is 42. So 42 is your highest common factor for 126 and 210. The table shows information about the times in minutes 100 people took to complete a bike race. On the grid, draw a frequency polygon for this information. So for the frequency polygon, we take the midpoint of the intervals on the x-axis, and the y-axis is your frequency. So from 130, we draw a dot at 12. From 150, we draw it at 28. From 170, we draw it at 30. From 190, it's going to be at 22. And then from 210, it's going to be at 8. So then you just connect the points with straight lines. And that is going to be your frequency polygon. Remember to take the midpoints of the intervals, not the minimum value or the maximum value. It's always going to be the midpoint of the intervals for the frequency polygon. Then write 3.402 times 10 to the power 5 as an ordinary number. We move the decimal 5 places to the right-hand side. So that's going to be 3402. And then we add 2 zeros. So 340,200. Write 0.8026 in standard form. So it's going to be 8.026 times 10 to the power of -1. We move the decimal 1 place to the right side. The reason why we're moving it just 1 place to the right-hand side is because in standard form, the decimal needs to come after the first non-zero digit. So the first non-zero digit is 8. That's why it's 8.026 times 10 to the power of -1. Then use ruler and compasses to construct the bisector of angle ABC. You must show your construction lines. So for the angle bisector, what you will do is you will open your compass to less than the length of BC and AB. So once you've opened it, you need to make sure that the length remains constant throughout the time you're making the arcs. So once you've done that, you put your pointed part of the compass over here and draw an arc using the length on BC and AB. Once you've done that, using the same length, you put your pointed part over here on AB and BC and draw 2 more arcs like this. Once you've done all of that, you connect point B and pass it through the intersection of the 2 arcs. And then using your protractor, you can measure the angle. So for example, if ABC is 30, this needs to be 15, and this also needs to be 15. So you check that using your protractor. And if your protractor doesn't give the correct answer, then you probably did something wrong with your arcs. So make sure that your lengths are consistent. So make sure that your length of the compass that you've opened to is consistent throughout the time you're making the arcs. Don't change it. And it has to be less than AB and BC. It can't be more than that. Then Dan is playing cards. The probability that he will win a game of cards is 0.3. Dan plays 2 games of cards. Complete the probability tree diagram. So the probability of winning game 1 is 0.3. So losing is going to be 1 minus 0.3, which is 0.7. So this is going to be 0.7. So since the probability of winning the games is consistent throughout, so this is also going to be 0.3. This is also going to be 0.7. Same over here, 0.3 and 0.7. If any changes were happening during the game, they would mention it in the question. But since they didn't, so the probability of winning and losing is the same throughout for game 1 and game 2. Then work out the probability that Dan does not win either game. So if he doesn't win either game, that's going to be 0.7 times 0.7, which is 0.49. That's your answer. Then Robin buys a total of 240 pens and pencils, where the number of pens is to number of pencils is 3:5. Robin pays 9 pence for each pen, and he sells each pen for 11 pence. Then he pays 6 pence for each pencil and he's selling it for 10 pence. Robin sells all of the pens and pencils. Work out his percentage profit, giving your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So first we need to find the number of pens and pencils he has. So for pens, that's going to be 3/8 of 240, which is going to be 90. And then for pencils, 5/8 of 240, which is going to be 150. Each pen is bought for 9 pence and he's selling it for 11. So cost, that's going to be 810 pence. Selling price is going to be 90 times 11, which is 990 pence. Then for pencils, the cost is going to be 150 times 6, which is 900 pence. And the selling is going to be 150 times 10, which is 1500 pence. For the percentage profit, it's going to be selling minus cost divided by cost times 100. Total selling price is 990 plus 1500. Total cost is 810 plus 900 divided by 810 plus 900, and then we times the fraction by 100 for the percentage. That's going to be 45.6% correct to 1 decimal place. That is your percentage profit. So remember, for percentage profit, it's always going to be selling price minus cost price divided by cost price, and then you times the fraction by 100. Then we have a stem and leaf diagram. It shows the test scores of 23 students from school A. The key shows that the numbers on the left-hand side are the tens and on the right-hand side are the ones. 23 students from school B did the same test and the median score was 56. The range of the scores was 47. Compare the distribution of the scores of the students from school A with the distribution of those test scores with the distribution of the test scores of the students from school B. So let's first find the median and range of school A. So we have 23 students, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 57 is the median score because 11 scores before that, 11 after that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. Median is 57. And then for range, it's maximum minus minimum. So 79 minus 30, that's 49. Least score is 30, highest score is 79, so we subtract them. Now, about the comparing part, if the median score is higher, that means that school is scoring better. So we can see that the median score of school A is higher, which means their scores are higher compared to that of school B. And talking about the range is smaller for school B compared to school A. Since a higher range means that the scores are more spread out, that means in school A, the scores are more spread out compared to school B. We can say that mean of school A is higher, which means they are scoring higher than school B. Range of school A is higher, which means their test scores are more spread out. That is your comparison for the scores of School A and School B. Then Jana used her calculator to find the value of a number t. The answer on her calculator began 10.2. Complete the error interval for t. So the answer is going to be 10.3 over here and 10.2 over here. Because if the answer on her calculator is beginning with 10.2, it's going to be between 10.2 and 10.3. But as you can see, the inequality states that t is less than this value but greater than equal to the other value. So 10.3 is not included. It's less than 10.3. So anything less than 10.3 works, but 10.2 and greater works in the other case. So it's going to be 10.2 over here and 10.3 on the other side. Then ABC is a right angle triangle. Calculate the length of AB, giving your answer correct to one decimal place. As you can see, we have a length, we have an angle. The length given is your adjacent because it lies on the length where the angle is. And they want us to find AB, which is your opposite. So when we have the opposite and adjacent, so we use tangent. Tan of 62 is going to equal to AB over 7.6. For this, you need to remember SOHCAHTOA. So is sine equals to opposite over hypotenuse, chi is adjacent over hypotenuse, and toa is tangent equals to opposite over adjacent. So we do 7.6 times tan of 62 to find AB, and that equals 14.3 centimeters. That is your length of AB. Then simplify fully 2x cubed times y to the power of 5 times 7x squared y. So you multiply 2 with 7, and then for x, similar powers are being multiplied, we add the powers. So 3 plus 2 in the power, and then same for y, similar powers are being multiplied, we add the powers. If the power isn't written, it's always 1, hence 5 plus 1. So that's 14 x to the power of 5 times y to the power of 6. That is your answer. Then simplify m squared whole power negative 3. When there's a power inside the bracket and outside the bracket, we multiply the powers. So m to the power of 2 times negative 3, just m to the power of negative 6. If you want to write it as a positive power, you can write it as 1 over m to the power of 6, or even give it as a negative power. Either way, it's going to be correct. Then Peter invests 4,500 pounds in a savings account for 3 years. He gets 1.8% per year compound interest. Work out the total amount of interest Peter gets. Keyword is interest and compound interest. So compound interest formula is basically going to give us the final amount after the investment with the interest added to it. So that's 4,500 times 1 plus 1.8 over 100 to the power of 3. Your formula is P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of T. T is your time period, R is rate of interest, and P is your initial investment. So that's going to give us 4,747.4. They want the interest earned. So for the interest, you will subtract the investment from this amount. That equals 247.4 pounds. That is the total amount of interest he's earned in 3 years. Then line L is drawn on the grid. Find an equation for the line L. Very simple. For an equation, you use the slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus c. M is your slope and c is your y-intercept. So y-intercept is that point through which the line passes at the y-axis, which is this. So C value is 3. For the slope, we use rise over run. So what you can do is you can pick any 2 points on the line and then find the rise over run. So let's say we pick this point and this point. Always prefer whole numbers over decimals. So for the rise over run, this is your rise and this is your run. So since we're going from 5 to 9 over here, and then at this point, we're going from -3 to -1. So we make this the start point. 5 to 9, we're increasing. So our rise is 9 minus 5. And for our run, it's -3 minus -1. If you want to use a formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So based on this, x1 and y1 are -1 and 5. x2 and y2 are -3 and 9. So 9 minus 5 over -3 minus -1. That's 4 over -3 plus 1, which is -2, and -2 is your slope. So y equals to -2x plus 3. That is your equation. You can pick any method. You can use rise over run or use the slope formula to find the slope. For the y-intercept, always look at the point through which the graph is crossing the y-axis, and that would give you the equation very easily. And with that, we're done with paper 3 as well. If you have any questions or confusions, please leave a comment below and I'll help you out. And if you understood everything, please like and subscribe, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel.